Hi, good day. This is Joe Aguas, and welcome to my lectures in philosophical anthropology. And for this topic, or for this lecture, the topic will be on man as an intersubjective being. So I will be dividing my lecture into uh, four parts. The first part will be a very short introduction. Then the second part will be on Buber, on genuine dialogue and the interhuman. The next part will be on Marcel, on creative fidelity and disponibility. The last part will be on Voipiwa, on uh, participation and the common good. So I will start first with just a very brief introduction. By the way, again, you can see my lecture notes. So you can follow my discussion from these notes and from uh, uh, and on and my explanation based on the notes. And you can see here the required readings for this topic. You have a reading on Martin Buber, taken from his book Between Man and Man, Chapter 1, the dialogue. And the other chapter is on I and Thou. And then, so two readings on Buber from Between Man and Man and the I and Thou. And then Gabriel Marcel, from his book Creative Fidelity, on the chapter Creative Fidelity. And the third one, the third reading, is on Karol Wojtyła from the book The Acting Person, and the last chapter, which is Intersubjectivity by Participation. So let me start with uh, the introduction. So, in my previous discussion, I talked about man as an existential subject, and we have discussed there that the human person is a subject, meaning that uh, he does not only exist in himself, that as a subject, he has his own inner life, interiority. That inner life or that inner self consists of his thoughts, of his feelings, of his fears, aspirations, wishes, ambitions, dreams, etc. Okay? And that these are expressed through his body, through his action, through his self determination, through his freedom, and so on and so forth. But human persons are not just subjects, they exist in the world, and they exist in a world that is already inhabited by other people. So he exists in the world together with other human beings. Okay? Not only does man exist together with others, he also lives, feels, and moves together with other people. There's always a give and take process, an independent, interdependent process. We relate and we connect with each other. So we definitely depend on others for our needs, for our, for our needs, um, and we form a network of interdependence and interrelation as we live in the world. So this world is a social and intersubjective world. Okay, according to the philosopher Alfred Schultz, when we were born into this world, the world is already inhabited by other people. There are our contemporaries, the people that we live with, we share within a common time frame. There are our predecessors, those who existed and lived before us, and there will be our predecessors, those people who will live after us. Now, intersubjectivity in the general sense refers to the basic feature or element of our existence and being a human person, of being interrelated with other human beings. Okay? So, simply put, intersubjectivity points to the fact that we exist, we live, we interact, we relate with other human beings. Our existence is characterized by the fact that there are other human beings, human individuals aside from us. We are not alone in this world, that we relate with one another, that we depend with one another, that we connect with one another. Now, let's move to this concept of man as a social animal. According to the Greek philosopher Aristotle, man is a social being or political being or political animal. In his book Politics, he writes, man is by nature a social animal. An individual who is unsocial, naturally and accidentally, is either beneath our notice or more than human. Society is something that precedes the individual. Anyone who either cannot lead the common life or is so self sufficient as not to need to, and therefore does not partake of society, is either a beast or that he does not means that he exists and live in a society and that we relate, or sorry, that he is either um, uh, beast or some kind of a superhuman. Okay, he's beyond us because we always need other people. We exist and live in a society in that we relate and depend on others for our needs. Our human interactions and interdependence show not only our social character, but it also shows the natural, no? uh, the natural character of our existence. So it's not only social, but it is also natural. And not only social or sorry, it's not only social or existential, it is also natural because there is a natural interdependence between or among us as human individuals. It is impossible to imagine people just living and acting together, and yet they do not depend on each other for their other needs. It's impossible to imagine that we are just standing side by side with each other. So our existence as being with others is much deeper than any object being side by side with each other. You know, we can say that um, this laptop exists with a mouse. And of course, well, we can say that the mouse is needed in order to operate the laptop. But the mouse itself does not need, or the laptop itself does not need the mouse. It is us who needs the mouse in order to operate the laptop. So people need others. They depend on others. Okay. They do not just exist side by side with each other. So when we say we are with our family, with our friends, with our classmates, with our associates, etc., it is rooted in our relational and intersubjective character. And this intersubjective or relational dimension is an essential component character of our human existence. Now, let's dwell deeper on the notion of intersubjectivity. So, the basis of our intersubjectivity is the fact that as human person, we are not just solitary subjects who exist alone in the world. We recognize that there are others, there are the thous, there is our fellow men who also exist in the world. There are other people around us, okay? Our friends, family, parents, etc., etc. That points to the basic experience of our human existence. That when we are born into this world, it's already inhabited by other people. The world is experienced The world is experienced as being inhabited and lived by other selves or by other people. So this world is not a private but a social world, in that we share this world with our fellow human beings. And this social character of the world, in the social or relational character of our human existence, cannot be separated from our essence as human persons. We are beings with other people or with others. Now, there are two dimensions of human relations, or two dimensions of these intersubjective relations. The first is the interpersonal, and the second is the social. The interpersonal is a person to person relation. It is bound by personal or subjective interests. For example, friendship, parental relationship, relationship between parents and children, the marital relationship between husband and wife. Okay? Here, the relationship is more intimate, it is more personal, and it goes beyond, just simply living together or acting with it together. Okay? Because we don't just share common social interests. We share deep personal experiences. So it's a more intimate relationship. Okay? The second is the social. Okay? And of course, when we say social, it is a relationship that is bound by common interests, common objectives, common activities. Okay? So, for example, the relationship in the neighborhood, okay, our relationship with our neighbors, or our relationship in the school, or in the workplace, or in the society. It's social. Okay, so the social relationship or the social dimension of our relationship is not as intimate as the personal. Although, of course, there may be some relationships within the social that may go as deep as a personal relationship. Like, for example, in the class is uh, it's a social relationship, but among classmates, there may exist an interpersonal relationship. Classmates may turn out to be good friends, okay, or the best of friends. So, um, married couples may have been members of an organization or classmates uh, before they become engaged and they got married. So, from the social, it became an interpersonal or a personal relationship. Okay, but of course, we cannot uh, confuse the two because these are two distinct relationships. You have the interpersonal relationship, which is more intimate. We share ourselves, our personal experiences. And then on the other hand, there is the social, which is less intimate. It is bound by common interests, common good, common objectives, etc., etc. So the two belongs to different dimensions of relationships. Okay? That ends the first part of my discussion. So thank you very much for listening and God bless.